All right, and we are live. Super excited, super pumped to be here in our free private community of All right, about. We have about 5,400 members here, so we like to go live here. Every once a week maybe. Sometimes we do like once in 2 weeks or so. But basically today I have a question or a topic that I've been seeing a lot, right? If we look in today's world, people talk a little bit about time freedom, location freedom, right? And truly having something that is maybe not necessarily only making them a lot of money, but also mainly giving them the freedom, the time freedom, the location freedom. So what is that business model? Or like maybe how do you structure something? How do you structure a system that can give you that location or time freedom that you want? So today I wanted to go a little bit deep into that and give a couple examples on how you can set your business up in a way where it really truly allows you to do that on a big scale, right? But yeah, with that being said, today that's going to be today's topic. So I'm going to go into that, and then towards the end, of today's session, I'm going to go ahead and open up an opportunity for a live Q&A. So this is a question and answer of where you can just go ahead and ask me anything that you want. And yeah, whoever's watching this live, just go ahead and type one down below and let me know where you're tuning in from. We have a couple people here. I see. So just let me know where you're tuning in from. And if you're watching the replay, go ahead and type a 2 and give us some likes and loves. Really, really helps the algorithm here for you guys. All right. So with that being said, I'll go into, give me one sec. Seems like it ended. I think it ended the live stream. Huh. Interesting. No, I didn't end. All right, tech issues. It happens. It's part of the game. On my screen, it showed like it ended. It said, live ended. Anyways, all good. This is part of business, guys. Like this is exactly what it is, right? Like especially when it comes to the online world, people think that everything is just super smooth and things are just black and white. No, it's not, right? We continuously have tech issues. Everyone does, everyone will. It just really truly never stops, right? And this is a perfect example of it being there, right? It's just part of the game. So I'm gonna go into what happened a few months ago. So about 2 months ago, me and my brother, we were in Dubai. We were in Dubai for about, I think it was about 3 weeks or so. But right before that, there was a meeting that I had, and my brother was like listening in, right? Me and my brother will live together. He's also my business partner. His name is Mo. Some of you guys may have even, chatted with him. But basically, we had a prospect who was in Dubai, and we just, an idea just kind of came to my mind, and we started talking like, "Hey, man, it's been years since we've been to Dubai, right? It's been years. Let's go back." And we were like, "Yeah, let's do it." And then we're like, "No, let's actually do it, right? Like, let's not just talk about things." Because one of the things in business and life, what we realize is people who move fast, people who move quick are the ones who win, right? It's not just about planning something, right? Like, or like, oh, let's do what most people do. What you'll see, what average people do is like they plan a year or 2 years in advance, like, oh, let's do this. Then, but people who are very successful, they plan like boom, like this, right? If an idea comes, it's like, let's get it done right then and there. So we were like, let's use the same philosophies and let's use the same idea that we have here and let's do it now. And then I told him, I'm like, man, we were in a very, we were doing a pretty crazy launch. So we had to be here. We had to be in the US time zone. And he was just like, you know what? Let's just flip my ring, right? Let's flip a coin. So we couldn't find a coin. So he was like, let's flip my ring. And if the ring says if we're going to go within 10 days or we're going to go in a few months, we'll see. So he flipped it. It landed on, it landed upside, and that meant that we have to go in the next 10 days. So we just literally booked our flights and just showed up, just went there, right? And it proved to be one of the best experiences because we were so in grind phase. We were like, continuously working. And we had this limiting belief where it's like, if we leave, maybe the business wouldn't be able to survive. Maybe the business would kind of like shut down, because a lot of times when we first start a business, we are doing the grunt work ourselves, right from the beginning. And if we're not set up or if we're not structured the right way, and if basically a real business is there in a place where it should continuously grow when the founder's not even present. That's a real business. If you feel like you have a business, but you feel like if you step away, then it'll just disintegrate. My friend, that's not a real business. I hate to say it, but that's like you're just like a freelancer with an LLC, right? So we put it to the test ourselves, right? We also felt like maybe if we step away, is the team going to be able to handle it? There was all these million questions. We're like, you know what? This is a good stress test, right? This is a good test to kind of see if we're right or if we're wrong, if our systems can actually withhold some of these things, right? Mind you, we have 120 employees, right? It's pretty heavy. Like there's a lot of moving pieces. There's very intricate details that we manage on a day-to-day basis. And we have this limiting belief. We had this limiting belief, like, oh, if we step away, then maybe people won't be able to handle it the right way. Maybe things will break. And I'll tell you guys what, when we went to Dubai, the first, I think it was like 5 or 6 days. By the way, we got really, really sick. So first and foremost, we got extremely sick. But the team pulled in over 6 figures in like 5 or 6 days. We did over 100 grand in like 5 days me and my brother, it's for probably the first time in our lives where we actually, probably those 5 days we did like 1 hour of work, even if that. We didn't do a single thing. We're just with family. We hadn't seen our mom and dad in like over a year, and we were just chilling with our family, and it was surreal, right? Like to have the team just basically working everything on its own, right? And when we first started, I remember like about 7 years ago, that was just a dream. That was just like, oh, what if we get to a spot where we can go on vacation and we don't have to worry about being in a specific, time zone or a specific spot, and for some of you guys, maybe you guys are in an office, you guys work a 9 to 5, right? And I'm, telling you this because my brother's 18 years old. He's one of my business partners now. He's 18 years old. He doesn't even have a diploma. He'll probably kill me if I'm sharing this, but it's okay. He doesn't even have a diploma. And there's people out there with PhDs. They're doing like 200K a year, but they just feel stuck. What's the point of all the money in the world if you can't even take a day off whenever you want? Like me and my brother, we live in a pretty insane apartment. I don't know, maybe I can just show you guys a little bit. But the view is pretty sick, right? And we have a lot of amenities. Like we even have like an indoor golf simulator. We have a basketball court, ping pong table, like you name it, right? We have even a massage room, like you name it. Steam room, sauna, jacuzzis, whatever. So sometimes we're just like, hey, let's go play a game of ping pong. And it's like literally at like 11 a.m. on a Tuesday. Or let's go up to the jacuzzi, let's chill there for a little bit. Let's, let ideas flow to us. That's the life like we've built. And again, the only reason why I'm sharing this with you guys is because we've gotten a lot of people who crave that, right? Like we live in this world where a lot of people just want to have something of their own, but they just feel a little stuck. They just don't know how to set up things the right way, right? And we're living proof of like, it's definitely very, very possible if you kind of know what you're doing. And this group, guys, is there to serve for that purpose, right? We have this group, we have my YouTube channel as well, which we've been shooting a couple of videos for. We'll go ahead and link that as well. That's going to give you like a step-by-step on how you can do it yourself, like completely free, no strings attached. If you want to hire my team to do it faster, cool. If not, you can do it on your own and get this, get the same results. Like we don't hide anything. Everything is upfront. Because we're not a course, we're not really coaches, we're business owners, right? And we figured out like, oh, this system works. And I'll tell you guys what, there's so much opportunity in this world where we like, people hide things, right? That's one thing that we realized, unfortunately, in the space or any other business, people like hide like, oh, here's my proprietary secret. We're like, put it out there. It's all good. There's so much room for everyone to eat. All right. So this group and, the YouTube channel, is there for that reason. It's like, go ahead and, just do the things that we ask you to in there if you want, or if you want to just hire a team, go ahead and you can do that as well. By the way, if you want to hire my team to do it all for you, just go ahead and type team down below, hop on a quick 10-minute chat. Can't purchase anything. We don't even accept credit cards on that call, but it's just to see like if what we have, the systems and processes that I'm telling you about when it comes to launching a wildly profitable digital marketing agency can actually work for you or not, right? Worst case scenario, you'll just walk away with a game plan. So like that call is worth at least $1,000, but we do it for free. And it's going to be with one of my partnership directors. So yeah, that's that. So overall, like, we work about anywhere from 3 to 4 hours a day, when it comes to our digital marketing agency. So it's like most people work especially in the beginning, right? You work 12 hours a day, you're grinding, that grind phase, that, there is a phase for that. And we went through that as well. There is a time and place for that. But it's like ultimately, man, we wanted to have a business where it's working for us, not the other way around, right? The worst thing here is like you buying yourself a job, right? And that's my responsibility to help you, to show a way, like, look, there's other ways around it where you don't have to be involved in doing the day to day, the client fulfillment, the sales, the marketing, all this stuff. No, there's like, you can set it up in a way where if you have the right systems and the right team in place, you can do it all completely. It's not passive, of course. Let's make that clear. Nothing really in life is passive unless you're a billionaire, right? But at least you can have an income stream, 10K, 20K, 30K a month coming in. And you can do way more than that as well if you have the right systems and structure in place, right? And this is what this group is there for. Anywhere from, on average, we do anywhere from 15 to 30K a day, dollars, right? And the team is just cranking, right? I'm here on this live stream here for you guys. Tonight we're going for cigar night. Like, I'm going with some 7 and 8 figure online company owners, and yeah, we've built our life around this, right? So use it as much as you want, right? So I'll go ahead and open up the floor. I just wanted to share that quick story there with you guys. I'll go ahead and open up the floor for any questions. Michael Wyatt is live. Awesome, good to see you here, man. By the way, Michael just joined. Michael, if you don't mind sharing a few sentences on, like, how your experience has been so far, and if people are considering potentially partnering with us, how would that look like? Completely coming in from you. Michael is one of our clients. So yeah, I'll go ahead and open up the opportunity for any questions. Open Q&A. You could talk about agency, life, whatever it is. We'll go ahead and answer a few questions here for you guys. All right. So I'll give it a few minutes. Raza asks, can I start an agency with you guys without any prior experience in marketing? Definitely. Like, that's the whole concept of being a company owner or a company CEO is not that you have to be in the weeds. Like, you don't have to be in the day to day, knowing every little detail, right? It's kind of like if you want to build a house, you don't have to worry about where the toilet goes or, like, how to do the plumbing, how to do the electricity. No, you hire it out, right? Like, you hire the experts for that specific thing, but you, as the owner of the house, at the end of the day, like, you get the job done because you have you have the people who are making the maps, you have all these different departments or all these different people who are helping you out, right? So you essentially kind of contract that out. So the same kind of philosophy goes with a digital marketing agency, but you don't have to contract everything out, right? So, like, you can do pieces of it, maybe especially if you, for example, are really, really good at sales. You may want to do the sales calls or the sales stuff yourself a little bit, prove it, and then from there you can have a commission-only closer come in and take it for you, right? So it's really all about positioning and building this digital marketing agency around your strengths. And this is something that I want to kind of talk about. A lot of people, what they do is, like, they may have really, really good experience. They may be a lawyer themselves, right? And then they're like, hey, I want to have an agency and go into e-commerce. Where it's like, you can, but why put yourself in a spot where you have to hyper compete against people who already have many, many years of experience in e-commerce already? Why not give yourself the edge? If you've been a lawyer for 15 years, you have 15 years over your competition, right? Why not go into a legal marketing agency? And that's just an example, right? People come in from all walks of life. Software engineers, we have a lot of software engineers, people who are working in corporates, like, whatever your strengths are, use that, right? So building an agency around that is important, but you don't have to have any prior experience in marketing, because as long as you find the right team, right? It's very similar to marriage, right? Picking the right partner is one of the most important decisions you can ever make in your life. So why not just implement that for business as well? Picking is everything, guys. Like, you really want to make sure you're working with the right individuals, the right team, because we have a lot of experience when it comes to that. We've worked with some, unfortunately, we picked the wrong business partners in the past, and there was a point in life where we were literally $850,000 in debt because of that, right? And it was completely our fault, right? We never point fingers. That's one of the things. is you can never, when you come into business, when you step into the business role as a CEO or a company owner, everything is 100% your fault, good or bad, doesn't matter, right? You're the master of your own destiny. Like, you have to really start thinking like this. So it's like, if we're gonna pick the wrong partners to work with, can't blame them, can we? Right? Like, there's a reason why we went 850K in debt, because we saw red flags and we're like, let's just go for it, right? That doesn't mean now, guys, like, you don't pick someone. Like, you have to make the decision, right? And one thing about successful people is they trust a lot of people. You have to put your trust in people. That's very, like, or else you're going to be stuck where you are, right? You have to put your trust in other people, but just, do your due diligence. Don't overly do it either, where you're like looking for the smallest little red flags. You want to see the main things. You want to see, like, all right, as long as the vision is the same, as long as the philosophy is the same, and the gut feel, right? Like, a big part of it is, if you feel good, like, okay, this thing can actually work. If you're scared, that's a different story. You should be scared, right? It's like, you're stepping into something new. Like, we humans, we always just want control of things, right? And we feel like we're out of control. So that's where we feel a little afraid, a little anxious, completely normal. But just know that, just look for competence, right? You want to find people who are competent and trustworthy, who can actually, who are willing to fight with you, right? Who are willing to row in the same direction in the boat with you. And just know that everything's a long game, right? It's a long process. Everything is, right? But again, why we launched Launch My Agency is to help you save 2 to 3 years of your life, so that you don't have to take the arrows in the back. We've already taken them for you, right? We've done mishires. We've spent literally multiple 6, if not 7 figures on just testing things out from every piece of business, right? The right lawyers, to the right, financial people for our company, to the right marketing strategies. We've just blown so much money in ads to find out, oh, these are the ads that actually work. So now our ads, every time we put in $1, we make back $8.1. This is our lifetime. So it's like, every time we put in $1, we make back 8, right? Imagine the value of just having that system. It's like, you can wake up like saying, okay, I have this machine basically that I've invested so much money in, but now I've figured out a few things. It's like, I put in $1, boom, make back 8, right? So, hope that answers the question. I know I kind of went on a little tangent there, but just want to give you guys as much value as I can. Reza says, like a maestro guiding the orchestra. Exactly. Like, that's the role of the CEO, right? All right, let's see any more questions. I saw a couple, but I don't know. I can't scroll to them. Let's see. How does the work-life balance look like in the beginning phase of business, rather when you're scaled to 7, 8 figures? Okay, so this is a really good question. So it all changes at different phases of your business, right? The first phase, 0 to 10K. This is one of the hardest phases, right? It's not the hardest. I would say it's one of the hardest phases, because there's so much unknown, especially when you're first starting out, especially if you maybe lack a little bit of skills, which is, very common, right? If you're just kind of starting out, you just may feel like you're out of control, like, oh, like, you don't know the things you don't know, right? And that's the thing. That's the problem with, like, trying to figure out on your own. You can. We figured it out on our own, and that was one of the worst mistakes we've ever made in our lives. There's 2 things that I'll say if I could go back. Number 1 is not being in the right masterminds continuously. We were in the beginning, and then we kind of just like branched off. We landed our first like 2 clients, and we're like, oh, we're good to go. One of the worst mistakes is not being in rooms that are already ahead of us. And number 2 is turning off paid ads. Like, at least that's from our end. I know people, have a lot of success as well, like with organic. And we land deals from organic as well. But for us, it's like, if I could go back, I would never turn off Facebook ads when it comes to having an agency and being in the right mastermind. So right now, like, we actually have a mastermind coming up in about 20 days from right now. It's called the 8-Figure Boardroom by Cole Gordon. And we paid him like 85 grand over the past like 8 months or so now. Just so, again, just be in that room. We're part of a lot of other masterminds. And that's one of the things that, myself, my business partner, Christian, and my brother, Mo, we sat down and we said, hey, we will never make this mistake again, right? So being in the right rooms, because these people already know what to do, what not to do, right? So 0 to 10 is where you're basically trying to prove the offer. You're trying to prove the business concept. Like, are people who are brand new actually going to buy from me or not, right? So it's a little stressful. So this phase you're doing a lot of research, you're doing a lot of like, it's purely trying to create demand, right? You're just full force is creating demand, right? You're not really worried about fulfilling on it. And I'll say one of the biggest mistakes that I see people is like they focus too much on fulfilling the demand versus creating it first. It's like, dude, create the demand first and then fulfill on it. And what I would recommend is, again, I come back to it, 1 + 1 = 11, right? Finding the right team. You can find contractors, you can find whoever you feel like you can trust to actually deliver white label services for you. I would go that route, have a call with them, like, all right, you can trust them enough. And again, this is something, what this is just one of the things that we do for our partners is we give access to our whole, 40-man team. We have 40 people just for the digital marketing agency, and they can just like relax and say, all right, this is the team that's going to fulfill. Now, me being the company owner or CEO, if I'm at zero, let me get on the front end, let me create some demand, right? So what most people do instead is they do the opposite, and then they wonder why they're not landing clients. It's like, hey, you're not doing any revenue generating activities, right? Common sense. But when you're in the midst of it, no matter how smart you are or how much your IQ is, trust me, like we all make this mistake, and we've personally did it ourselves as well, right? So just create the demand, 0 to 10, and then you go from 10 to about, I'd say 10 to about 50 is not as difficult. And then when you get to about 50, things are going to break a little bit, where it's going to be like, hey, maybe you're getting these clients, but how about the client results? Do you need to hire maybe like your first 1 or 2 employees? And you can make that decision there. But the next phase after that is going from like 50 to about 150K in revenue, right? So this is a little bit more challenging because again, it's more based on having some of these systems when it comes to your lead flow, when it comes to your client fulfillment, when it comes to your sales, right? Everything. Now, this is where you're starting to develop some of these systems, and these systems will be inefficient. They'll be ineffective in the beginning, and then you'll constantly tweak. And now the thing is, you're going to have payroll, or you're going to have fixed costs, fixed expenses on the back end that you have to make, right? Those don't go away. But when you step into these revenue numbers, 50 to 100, 150K a month, it's like there's going to be ebbs and flows. And you may not know this if you don't, if you haven't gone through this, but ebbs and flows basically is like, you'll have weeks where you're like, you didn't make a single sale. And now it's like, oh shit, what's going on? And then you'll have 1 week where you'll just clear house. Like you'll make so much, right? And then you're like, oh yeah, you're jumping up and down. But then overall, throughout the month, it kind of equalizes, right? And if you look at it on a longer time horizon as well, like a whole year, it's going to equalize. So there's going to be months, like we've had months where we're like, oh my God, we've lost a lot of money, right? In a specific month. But the next month, for example, or the month after, we'll make so much where we have, like, we'll just triple the revenue. Like it goes ebbs and flows, guys. Like that's just the nature of this beast, right? That's how it is. But just know that you will have fixed costs, you will have fixed expenses. So you're now thinking the level of the mindset that you have is a little bit less on kind of like the hustle or the grinding phase. It's more about getting the right people in place and managing them properly, right? Getting to about 150K a month. From here, from about 150K to, I'd say 250 to 300, in my opinion, is probably one of the hardest phases, because what's happening now is like you may have a few employees, you may have a few contractors, but you're still somewhat involved in the day-to-day, somewhat. So it's like you have to half manage people and you have to half do the work yourself. So it's kind of like being the manager as well as like you know what I mean? Like there's pieces to it. For example, you doing the payroll. Maybe if you can't afford like an accounting firm to do it all for you, maybe you have to run the payroll. Now you have to go back and to see what the sales reps made, how much your client fulfillment team has to make. So you may be doing some small little tedious tasks, right? And again, you can have VAs, you can have all these things, but there's going to be a level of a little bit of that. You can be like, man, I feel like I'm in 2 boats. Completely normal. It's all good, right? But after you get over 250K, usually you'll have enough revenues to be able to actually kind of take yourself out. So anywhere from 250 to about 500 grand a month, that's where you're going to like be able to completely like step away and be like, oh, I can, like, this business can work if you've really set it up properly, 2 hours a week, maybe, like you can actually do like 2 hours a week. And yeah, you'll be paying you'll be paying employees, people, like you'll have, sales team, setting team, you'll have, client fulfillment, the graphic designers, like all that cool stuff. And again, you don't have to have employees, but you'll have some sort of maybe the contractors, or you have another white label agency. But those guys are going to be the ones who are managing most of the work for you. And this is where you can like either, number one, kind of chill, Or number two is like, all right, how do I really scale this thing now to the millions a month mark, right? So for the most part, most of the people here, they're going to be more in like the beginning phases of like maybe like 0 to like 50K a month, who are kind of just either starting out or just have a few clients themselves. But yeah, that's pretty much the phases there for you guys. So hope that answered the question. 8 figures though is like it's a whole different beast. Like it's very strategic and things slow down. So you need to, in the beginning, it's like speed, everything's like boom right then and there. But at a big level, everything kind of slows down, and it's very purposely done because now you have a lot more to lose, right? If you make wrong decisions, it's like, oh man, like you can screw yourself up, and it's not only you now, it's about employees. You have dozens of employees, right? It's their families that you're also thinking about. It's not only the employees, it's like these people have a family to feed and bills to pay as well, right? So if you make wrong decisions, you could put them in jeopardy, right? So it becomes very strategic, but it's not as hard or like as it's different. It's kind of like, I'll give you a crazy example, but it's kind of like, I don't know, pizza and burgers, right? Both are good, but they're just a little different, right? So say similar concept there for you guys. So hope that answered the question there. All right, let's see any other questions. Brandon says, are dropping value bombs? Yeah, just trying to, man. Hope Medellin is treating you well, brother. All right, let's see. Any other questions? Again, guys, if you guys want us to like completely set this up for you, like from scratch, or if you already have an agency, you want to get to the next level, you want to go from, I don't know, 10K a month to 50 or 50 to 6 figures a month mark or whatever. We've consulted and we've worked with right now over 300 agencies, and they've collectively made over $28 million, right? All of them combined. So there isn't a thing that we haven't seen when it comes to the agency space, and like really doing it the new way, doing it the right way, right? That's one of the biggest things, is like there's so much competition where it's like, how do we differentiate ourselves, right? A big part of like you being able to be very successful is going to be how you differentiate yourself from the marketplace and have like an unfair competitive edge, right? So that's one of the most important pieces that we do for you, like completely done for you. And we do it on a live call, and our expert team comes in and basically sets this business up completely done for you, while training you to be the CEO, so that you can actually take the reins eventually, because we're not going to be working together forever, right? Let's be real. But we want you to be in a place where you can actually take this business to the next level, right? So if you're interested in that, like I said, go ahead and type team down below, and we'll have someone from the leadership team reach out for a quick 10-minute chat or so, just to see if we can even help. Because it's very similar to like a McDonald's franchise. It's like they want to make sure that they're partnering with the right individuals, right? Same thing for us. We really want to make sure we're getting the right partners, because this isn't some like random course, or we're not coaches here at all. We come in, we like literally install the same systems. Like we're doing the grinding, we're doing the work for you. All the stuff that I'm mentioning here, a lot of this is done for you. So go ahead and type that team down below if you're interested in potentially, seeing what that would look like for you. All right. How do you go from feeling like you are wearing all the hats in your business and being burnt out to being able to go to Dubai and still making money while barely working? It's one of the best feelings in the world, honestly. And I'll say, as a business owner, it's completely normal to feel burnt out at times, right? Like there's gonna be a time where it's just like, man, you start questioning, like, do I go back to my job, or do I, like, what do I do? Is this even for me? Right. And again, I come back to the container. Like, there's a reason why we live where we are. It's literally just because we're in this container of people who, the poorest person in this building, guys, does like 7 figures still. Like everyone here does 7 figures, 8 figures. Some people even do 9. You know what? There's a billionaire's family who lives, I think, on one of the bottom floors that we're at. A billionaire's family. So it's like, if we're in this environment, automatically our brains assume that, oh, this is normal life, right? So now we're forced to perform. We're forced to put ourselves in a place where we have to make, the amount of money that these people are doing, right? Because at the end of the day, we're all social creatures. Everyone, no matter how strong we think we are, no matter how smart or intelligent we think we are, at the end of the day, guys, like we're all social beings and we're all social creatures. So as long as we understand that, it's like, all right, are we going to place ourselves with the people who are bringing us down, or the people whose life that we don't want? Or Are we going to try to place ourselves in a spot where we can, grow and we can become the highest versions of ourselves in every shape there is, to life, health, fitness, whatever it is. Like, it doesn't have to be money. It doesn't have to be finances. It could be, maybe time freedom, like, or martial arts, whatever it is. Putting yourself in a container is pretty much the highest leverage activity that you can do, right? Because when you see other people, you're like, oh man, I got to make things happen, right? So same thing is, not only do we live here, but we're also part of these masterminds that I was just, talking a little bit earlier about. So there isn't anything that we ask our partners or our clients to do that we haven't done ourselves, right? Everything is proven to a T. Like, this thing works. Being in a container works. These systems, this team, like, it works. It's just up to you to, to pull the trigger on it or not, right? And that's completely your decision. So if you feel burnt out, that means you're doing something wrong. Like, truly, that's, it's that there's a knowledge gap, there is a systems gap, or there's a team gap. There's something that's off, right? And like I said, it's okay, as long as you're aware of it, but as long as you do something about it, right? The biggest thing is like knowing that you are where you are, but it's like, what can you do to improve it, right? If you choose not to do anything about it, that's on you. You deserve to be burnt out. And that's, I'm not being mean. I'm just telling you the reality. Like, guys, like, life is actually a lot more fair than we think it is. Truly. Like, it's a lot more fair. Sure, there's very unfortunate things that happen, like car accidents or whatever. But let's say 95% of life, it's very, very fair. And life gives to the ones who deserve the most, who are willing to take action, who are willing to take risk, right? People say, oh, that's a big risk. Well, big risk, big reward. Big risk, big business, right? Or, if you don't take any risk, then there's no reward. All profit is derived from risk. You cannot go against that. It's kind of like trying to think of like, oh, why can't I jump? Why can't I fly? Well, physics, right? Gravity is going to pull you down. So when it comes to business, people are so afraid of spending money on ads or spending, giving money to experts. Like, we spend a lot of, when it comes to everything in life, health, we work, we try to work with, the right meal prep company, and that costs money, the right trainers, even dating coaches, like all these little aspects. It's like, yeah, it costs money, but guess what? No pay, like, you have to spend the money in order to get the value that you need, right? So if you feel like you're kind of stuck in life, maybe that time freedom or that location freedom, it's like, it's all, at the end of the day, it's like all your fault, right? So Varun says, I'm curious because I'm hopeless right now. Yeah, I mean, it's an unfortunate place to be in. Like, I completely understand. Like, we've been there ourselves as well, right? But what if I told you, like, if you are part of people or a community, even this private community, like, if you guys engage more, it's like you can form business partnerships, and you can feel, as entrepreneurs, one of the things is like, there is a very lonely journey only if you choose it to be, right? If you're like, oh, I'm going to be in this little silo, because if you have like an average life, and we all started somewhere, we all, I'm not sure of your specific life, but at least for us, we started, all the way at the bottom in a third world country. So like, when we're surrounded with people who make, I don't know, $200 a month, when we talk about like, we want to make 200K a day, it's like they think we're lunatics, or they think we're like gone from the head, like, we're on drugs or something. That's what they think, right? So it's like, yeah, you could feel like, man, you can start to question yourself a little bit. But I come back to the same thing that I was just talking about. If you're in a room where people are already doing those kind of numbers, if people are, for example, already making 10K, and that's your goal, to make 10K or 20K or 30K a month, and you're in rooms that not only do they make that money, but they make 100K plus, you're like, wait, it's definitely possible, right? So being part of a container, being part of a community is everything. It's every time we made an investment in a community, we're like, oh shit, it's a lot of money. I swear we made it back within, I don't think there's ever been a single investment that we haven't made back in like 2 weeks of joining. Like, we learned one or two things and we're like, whoa, let's implement. And now we have a rule. We will only spend the money that makes us stay awake at night, meaning that it's a big enough. So it's like, now at this point, in the beginning, we used to buy like $1,000 or $2,000 courses or, programs or whatever, back in the day. And that was a lot of money for us, but now it's not, right? If we buy, we may not even log into it, to be very honest with you, right? Now it's like, okay, at least 10K plus. Like, we won't even go into anything. And what we even do now is like, I don't want to watch the videos. I want to just, if someone is, in a specific industry, like fitness, for example, right? We're like, hey, look, here's the money. I just want to talk to you. Like, tell me what do I need to know? I'm not gonna go through some of the videos. I just don't, have the time for that, or I don't, I'm not gonna. I want to go straight to the top, right? So you'll get to that phase in your life, but you have to start somewhere, or you have to kind of start small. Okay. Hope that helps. But yeah, any last final questions? I'll go ahead and chill here for like a minute, and if not, we'll call it a day. All right. All right. I believe that is pretty much it for today. So great Friday, guys. The weekend is coming up, and if you wanna watch the replay, some of the things that I talked about here, you may want to kind of go back into listen to it. And again, the biggest thing is, guys, implement, right? Like, we're giving away everything that we know. We're giving away our life's work, not only in this Facebook group, but in our YouTube channel. It's like, just go ahead and implement it, right? Like, the worst thing I want for you guys to do is like watch it and not do anything about it and just kind of go about your day, right? The people who actually are very successful are the people who implement right away. Like, right then and there is like, I learned this, boom, like within the next second, right? It's all about speed of implementation. And what happens is that momentum starts kicking in, right? You'll start gaining the momentum that you need to gain. And, one day at a time, brick by brick, you'll be at a spot where you're very, very proud of, right? Not only for yourself, but also, with your family. Like, you're like, man, this was amazing, right? But change all starts from you, right? All the tools are here available. We give you everything, but it's up to you for you to decide if you want to use it or not. All right. So with that being said, really nice chatting with you guys here. And if you're watching replay, go ahead and you can, if you have a specific question that you'd like me to answer, go ahead and tag me underneath this with your question, and I'll go ahead and personally respond to you guys. All right. But with that being said, have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys soon. All right. Take care, guys.